Reframing Mindset podcast, where I clear my head of the thoughts that are preventing clarity, practice my speech, among other things. Episodes range from informative knowledge to funny stories about my experiences, and in the future, maybe include interviews. So subscribe and enjoy. Episodes drop every other day. Okay, welcome to Reframe Mindset Podcast. My name is Constant. This episode I talk about, I guess, part of the 40 year home ownership. I said, I guess from the 30 or something like that, you realize that boom, hurricane came and actually come in and tested the home and stuff like that. But at the same time, I said, most of that stuff has a shelf life in the sense that, ideally, in the ideal world, you wish you have enough money to go do like a full check and stuff like that. Like I finally have the items to actually go and actually buy the actually go out and fix the area that was affected by the hurricane and stuff like that. But at the same time, like you in the 40 years, so you as a you can't compare versus 40 year ownership to somebody how many years. But at the same time, you actually have to go through and do these chapters yourself. In that, what will happen is that when your chapter 80 something comes, you will have the experience of doing that chapter 80 compared to some you having not doing the experience, and then you going, and then when the time comes again, like another hurricane comes, you're there. So we're coming from the same problem that I have in the third year, in like your fifth year of home ownership or stuff like that. So what happens is that because the hurricane kind of came and tested this home and stuff like that, and based on what I'm seeing so far in May 2025, we don't see any light rains or stuff like that. So me buying the stuff and putting in the work actually kind of compound me into getting certain stuff that I actually had, that I actually was planning to get before, that stuff to actually deal with the home and stuff like that actually assist me better. And with the work actually assisted me in maybe able to attempt in clearing up this place better. So I said the third year of home ownership, I'm actually getting some proper and the working world actually somewhat prepare me better to actually attempt certain stuff better. So that's the weird thing about this for ownership is that um doing the work and all these stuff, I you kind of get forgot the journey. But as I said, the journey is basically the same. Where be like, yo, it's the fourth year now, so I'm out there trying to clear up. Would actually try to clear up everything in the backyard related to the stuff like that again, and then you basically then focus on not internal, just actually just come in and check if everything is good with your home. That's basically the fourth year for this year. Like here, the home is what happens in the fourth year is that the home is sort of becoming a home, but because you're out there so working, it doesn't actually feel like it feels like home, work, and everything in between. That's basically what the home feels like now. Like home, work, and everything in between. That's basically what it feels like in the 40 of home ownership. It doesn't really feel like a a home first. It feel like homework and everything. So that's basically the thing. But you have to basically acknowledge the fact and be grateful for the fact that you can actually see that. Remember, so we're out there, so sorry from like the basic telephone and stuff like that, knowing that somewhat afford your phone ownership or stuff like that, and all these things. So that we actually started from somewhere. You actually started from somewhere. Sometimes, and that's the thing about the episode about frame of perspective and stuff like that. Sometimes you're out there, so you're sitting down and you're wallowing in your stuff, but you need we this to start from somewhere. Even if you basically start from walking and stuff like that, the fact that you can actually go and take your time, learn to cook, better and stuff like that actually come in those compounds and allows you to say, okay, boom, I can actually no me clean the backyard this year. Me attempting to clean the backyard this year. I can do something like okay, prepare food and drink, prepare better food and drink to sustain myself in the blistering sun and clean up the home and stuff like clean up the backyard and stuff. And make what was the previous year struggle less struggling, where you be like less struggling and just better. But at the same time, knowing that you're out there using the tools that you had in the previous year to assist you, but you actually know using it better, you have income and you actually have more knowledge from the fact that you actually attempted these stuff before. You actually attempted these stuff before basic, then you actually attempt actually going out and doing this stuff again, but with better, stronger and better knowledge. So that's basically the thing for this year. Like, yo, the home experience our routine and stuff like that, and we learn the lesson from it. So this year, I'm always just trying to continue to build on the stuff where be like, yo, I'm not out there so making the bank. This day I can actually go out and call things like extend hours and stuff like that. I even know the process of actually doing those stuff. Everything is a process of itself. I can't just go out and be like, okay, I'm gonna go out and just do those stuff. But at the same time, they with the same thing are breaking out of your cycle or stuff like that, breaking out of your cycle. It's important to acknowledge where you're coming from, even in your circle of family or stuff like that, to know that okay, when you're ready to make this move, it just compounds. So what happens is that the fact that certain stuff are happening, like for example, let's record the episodes now, and the more I record this episode, the more I can actually go from planning to execution phase quickly. In the sense that sometimes I out there to record the episodes now at this point of the level, and sometimes be like, okay, what's the point of me recording? Because by the time this episode is released, I've actually done what I was going to see. So that's the phase of the compound interest and stuff like that. Where be like they by you just taking your time, putting in the work and stuff like that, your ability to move from novice to pro or from amateur to pro becomes quicker, naturally. Quicker naturally, even from zero, and it's like and it makes you actually become like one of those they call it, the spoiled kid syndrome or stuff like that. People that call it rich and all these stuff. What happens is that you're take even sometimes when you're out there so sitting down and feel like you're just not doing nothing. The fact that all the groundwork that you did before just compound where your nothing is 10 times better than than someone else. Some doing something way more and those stuff. And what happens that that relates to the episode where certain people love certain people call luxury is a privilege. Certain thing people call a privilege. That episode I talk about certain things that people call a privilege is a something they had to work for and it became a luxury and now they actually so people just call and say, oh yeah, there's a privilege are out there so doing that. They have to actually put in the work to get those stuff and then they are just living off the fat of their years of work. And because they always living off the fat of the years of work, it seems like they always slacking at the top and stuff like that. But what happens is that even the person themselves don't they realize that all those basic groundwork just naturally just compound and you naturally just out there so doing the right thing at the point where we like just naturally doing the right thing and, and things just naturally work out the way it comes. Like you out there to start living what you're rapping and all those stuff. I living I come in like living what you're preaching or whatever it says. Like those stuff at some point it just regurgitate till it becomes what you actually out there to do. You're living what you're rapping or stuff like that. And it's like, but that's important to acknowledge in the fourth year because this episode is gonna talk about kitchen issues now. So boom, if you know about going to university days or stuff like that, and that's the thing we always talk about going to the university days. Why is it so important? For me, even if you go uh different use, you see you see the future. That's the thing. When you grow up, you come from a family. And what happens that even if the family comes from like go to university, you are the second generation coming from university or stuff like that. Or stuff like that. University introduce you to a higher to the future. Into the future. And um what happens is that when you go to experience the future, that's the reason why it's so high cost. Why the cost is so high. You're out there to experience in the future. And even though and what happens is that you don't realize how futuristic it is until you actually leave the university and come back to the real world and actually have to do those stuff in real life. Those are the that's why you actually see how futuristic the thing is and why those things cost have a high cost and all these stuff. And why that is a privilege to actually go to a university. Where it'll be like, oh, some people like, oh, I leave high school and stuff like that, and now go to university and stuff like that. And then you come out now as a university graduate and you hear a high school person come in and be like, oh my god, I'll be putting in the work. I know you're out there on the mud at the bottom out there. So while you can't get a job or stuff like that. In that low point. You're in that low point and stuff like that. At the same time, what happens is that I had the privilege of going to university to say, yo, universe experience it to the future. And this relates to something simple I'm going to say. Like, if you come from where I come from, it is something simple, but it changes a lot. Like boom, in my university days, they usually have something called there's on the dorm, they have things called electric stove. And that's the thing where you talk about gas versus electric. And I talk about going to Tesla and stuff like that and all these things. And what I realize is that these are simple stuff you can apply just now. Um, Going into the future, what you realize is that most of the invention is made for people like me who is lazy to actually do the stuff right. Or maybe we're not lazy. It maybe is what happens that there's a time of abundance and a time of shortage. What do I mean by that? We'll be like in a time of we talk about strong person builds good times create weak people create bad times create strong people. These are cycles, those are true. So what happened is that somebody came in and created a good time and people were born in a good time and living off the fat of the land. And then what happens is that that's a period of abundance. You were born in a period of abundance. So what happens is that you're born in a period of abundance, you're just living off the fat of the land. When hard times come, when hard times come, you're yeah, so you basically it expose what 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 your family had or what your ancestors had to go through to get you to actually get you exposed. And it happens that you become a sink or swim, asset or liability. You out there start to come in and be like, okay, yeah, you have to live or you have to actually apply your stuff to actually reach somewhere. You have to apply your knowledge to reach somewhere. So it's like that's the thing. But so what will happen is that invention came in now that actually so certain things we think are futuristic, like for example electric stove or Tesla electric cars and stuff like that, are made in a time of in a time of abundance and stuff like that, where they could actually attempt those stuff. But if you actually have the privilege of going to the university, you're seeing the future and what happens that you are able to actually when you go and you see the future, if you work hard enough you can actually bring the future into your home. And what happens is that when you actually bring the future into your home, it makes future students that go to the university are experiencing a different future, a futuristic world than you. That's why I be like, okay, in 2025 now, back in my days, you have things like Grammarly or stuff like that. You go to university and be like, but at the same time, even when we have those stuff, they have things that counteract all these things, and they have things that counteract all these stuff. But these days now, you have things like artificial intelligence, I call it ChatGPT and stuff like that. That would be the same thing, same thing, but more advanced. That they are trying in 2025. Okay, people have to try to use it. And I said, what happens that when I reach a certain level, you appreciate the fact that those tools exist. But like for example, at a university level, those things will be disapproved because the institution is meant to develop your brain for a certain reason. For a certain reason. That's the reason why, for example, this podcast, I can't go this and give well, I don't not sure I can go out and give a degree and tell you how to get a better grade than what I got. I what finish better than how I started or something like that. But I can't go there and get a degree yet. Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Or maybe actually am. Uh, but at the same time, what happens that you go into university, you experience the future, and the thing about it is that the way I went to in the university, even my experience was so pivotal and like that. I actually lived those experiences and stuff like that. Because in the real world, what will happen is that those things that you call a luxury are futuristic. You experience it in the dorm life, but you understand why you in the adult world you understand why you see. You have to actually go through you in the adult life you go through the 4 days to actually understand why those university things there are so relevant. So for example, so I talk about electric stove or stuff like that. So what will happen is that in this phase of my life now, and this has been happening for a while, I'm always a cooking and all this stuff, and I always been somewhat skinny and stuff like that. So even in this work experience that I talk about in the aviation industry and stuff like that, I was talking about it and saying, when I went there, I started out really big eating and stuff like that, and then I got really small. I got really small, and people out there to complain about how they I got so small and all this stuff. Because what happens is that it's one thing to actually gain the weight and stuff like that. And next thing to actually maintain it, just like richness and everything like that. Is one thing to actually get it. The next task is actually to maintain that level. So that's the thing. So sometimes I talk about okay, I'm compounding and all this are living off the fat of the oil and stuff like that. At the same time, if I stock off too much, I actually lose what I was out there so gaining. So there's a balance. So there's a balance. So yes, I'm out there so using the matches and stuff like that, and this is good for you. And what I realize is if you use matches or safety matches to light a gas stove or stuff like that, you realize if you actually read the stuff, it say okay, store it in a dry place. So it says, and that's the reason why the episode about all the friends talk about reading is fundamental. It's very important in the adult world. It says something like, okay, store in a dry place. So me seeing that now is it's common sense to say, okay, if I'm out there, so if I was not a human, if I was a robot or something like that, I would see that and I was naturally just out there, so put it in the in a dry place. But we are not a robot, we are humans. So what is happening is that I tend to forget to put it in a dry place sometimes. What happens now? A whole box of matches gets wasted and can't use. I have to buy a next box to use the matches because um I put it in a wet place. I know it can't be lit and stuff like that. And the university days, out there getting assistance from family and stuff like that. I can't be out there so doing if I was out there so doing that in the university days, I'll be out there so wasting money. and all those stuff. Although, so if I was out there, so not dorming and out there, so renting and stuff like that, all those stuff will be exposed to me in real life and all those stuff. But I'm out to experience it in in the adult world now, and living on my own. But regardless, when you reach somewhere in life and you have to buy your stuff, and that's the thing, where you have to actually where I talk about even the driving and stuff like that, it's good to know I'm out there so talking about the future, but it's good to know the past and the present. Why you have enthusiasts and all those so go to car shows and all these stuff, go to past and present and all those stuff. Because the more you get into it, the more it gets fascinating to know why we're at why we are where we are now, why we are where we are now. So so boom. So and that's the reason why and the other reason is that so that you appreciate where you are now. So you're out there, so and even when you leave university, you're out there talking about the good days and stuff like that. It takes these simple things now to actually come back and be like, okay, yeah, these are the reason why those we ain't going back to those days. I want to move away from those days. It doesn't mean like those days are bad, I'm lazy. Like, okay, I'm going to try to apply these stuff to make sure that I do not do these stuff in the future. But at the same time, not good to understand, okay, when you see me move to, for example, one day to an electric stove or stuff like that, you're going to listen to these stuff and be like, okay, yeah, this is the reason why these are the simple things that happened to me where I went through it and be like, okay, when I upgrade to this now, you can't complain because this was what I was going through, and which made me actually go to and upgrade to this. It's just that I had to go through those. I had to actually apply these stuff because I'm not rich enough to just out here to go out and do that yet. I just have to actually go out and just do. I understand the problem now. So this episode is for you now at the same level now. That's going a future person coming in now at the same gonna come through at the same level as me and be like, okay, gonna complain about this. So what happens is that because you're out there so forgetting to actually put the safety matches in the dry place, you have to go out there and spend extra money to buy a new set of matches and just to use a matches and stuff like that. Or you can find different ways as or buy a lighter, all these stuff. You have to buy all these stuff to actually come out just to light the gas. Just to light the gas and stuff like that. But then so this is where you come in and budget and all this stuff. And you're gonna realize investing in the future is not is tricky, is funny where you be like, okay, I'm going if you go out and say, okay, because of this, I'm going to stop going out and buy I'm gonna invest and see put all my money into investing and buying a electric stove and all these stuff. And that's great and it's like no, I'm gonna pay extra light bill or stuff like that. But at the same time, this is where you talk about privilege and luxury and stuff like that. That episode will be like, okay, yo, um, yes, throwing away a gas and all these stuff. I will getting rid of gas stove and all this stuff, but I would actually get rid of paying gas per se. I would actually get rid of paying gas per se and focus my most of my money now in paying one bill, an electric bill, an electric bill and stuff like that. And that will just actually just get rid of the the issues those minor issues and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's good to know these issues because as I said, each level you go, I'm talking about this part that I actually came from a basement and then I'm coming, go to a room and now I'm in a home. What will happen is that if I actually move to a different home, I don't have the luxury of going out and say, okay, I'm just gonna go out and just throw out a whole gas pan and stuff like that and all these stuff. That's the reason why I have this lesson will come. Where it be like, okay, when I go to a new level now, I remember, okay, it's a gas stove now. After I knowingly that okay, I spent so much money, extra money out there, so I'm trying to fix a safety matches issue, a safety matches issue. I would naturally tend to say, okay, in the new year now, I would actually be actively putting stuff in place I would actively put stuff in place to try to um move away from to make sure that the safety matches is always in a dry place. Make stuff like that. But at the same time, it's good to know these issues coming from the bottom or say just to know that okay, when you actually reach the new level, you understand why you're out there so reaching that new level. And the reason and I said these episodes are important because the the university days are stuff like that are nice and all, but they're not even they're not forever, right? Are the working days, employee days, and all these stuff. They give you a lot of luxury and all these stuff. But as I said, it takes it. it what happens that when you're in it, you don't appreciate. Like for example, the next luxury that I have in the university days was playing games and and all these stuff. And I can't recall, but I could remember in my game playing days when I was at university, it was much better for me to play games in university with a mic back then compared to my when I was back home and I actually came home. When I came home, we have the crickets in the background. If you actually listen to the podcast episode, you hear the crickets in the background, same way and stuff like that. But the crickets, I think the crickets was far less when I was in the university than when I was home. And the thing is, I do not know why. I do not know why yet. I don't remember. I do not know why, but those stuff I would actually, if I actually learn why the crickets were less and apply it into my home, I would I would actually be able to appreciate that's the next level of breaking out the cycle that I would actually come out and be like, okay, yeah, these are issues that I usually have back in the days that we don't have anymore and be like, yeah, it's good to know that uh, it's good to know why we are not at that place and all those stuff. But the thing is that those luxuries that you experience at university or stuff like that, and why I talk about value of a company's history and all those stuff were are there because the universities are big, big thing of people out there so coming together and all those stuff coming together to solve the problem. That's the reason why now out there so, I'm out there so speaking and all these stuff as a somewhat university graduate and stuff like that. And in myself, I'm out there so feeling that I have a say and my words compounds over time. My word compounds over time and all these stuff. But at the same time, the reason why the university, even in my home, when I go back to university, I will say, okay, it's 10 times when I actually go back to that university to do that alumni event. Why even though just going to the event, it was so much better. I got the free food. The free food was actually so much better than me going back and out there so struggling to actually eat, make the food and stuff myself. Was because everything that thing about the employee work is easier to actually do something when you're told to do it than to actually go to and do it yourself. So it's like, all those luxuries that I got the day of the alumni event. It's not impossible for me to actually do it. It's not impossible. But the fulfillingness of actually doing it was the fulfillingness was the fact that I actually it was actually given to me. Given the fact that I actually had to work to actually get myself there. You would actually be able to go to a alumni event if you're not a university alumni or stuff like that. At the same time, you have to actually appreciate the fact that our faculty is coming from a humble beginnings and stuff like that. We'll be like, okay, yeah. Our faculty was more results based and work based and um more stress based compared to another faculty which is more lax and more fashion oriented and stuff like more locks and all those stuff. So that's the thing where it be like sometimes you hear the episodes and you hear complaining and stuff like that. There was a natural actually listen, you actually there's a natural connotation to my faculty compared to another faculty, which same thing with our when I actually go to when I'm going through my faculty, I go and say, oh, our next faculty was stuff like that. There was those connotations are there, but you know, the longer you go, the more you actually realize, okay, the luxuries that, for example, a person going to university now in a in 2025 to do my degree would go out there feeling 10 times stress free, 10 times stress free and come out first class honors real quick. Giving my work, my with my working habit and stuff like that, due to the fact that just compounding and just making stuff easier, just make him naturally going out with that going going in with a silver platter. And not even saying him going that person going in 2025 going in with a silver platter or anything like that. It's just that you out there so putting in the work that he naturally coming with the tools, natural coming with the tools to actually win very easy, very easy. Yeah, and all these stuff. There are people like me and all these people that actually come in and have to hone our knowledge and all those stuff. You have all those knowledge coming in from the university, from the universe that is going to. And that's the difference now. Where it'll be like, okay, you go to university. My time I'm going to university. You have my lecturers them that teach me this stuff and all these stuff. My lecturers were professional that put in the work and all these stuff. What happening now is that when I'm out there so studying for the lectures and all these stuff, I'm out there so looking for sources, all different places, all different places. You out there so looking for sources, all different places and all those. You got to know that okay, you have a source. The person going to say, okay, I'm going to do my degree or all this stuff. Have a source directly that actually went to where you went and be like, oh yeah, this is what I'm gonna go through and be like, yo. So you're basically walking in with you're subconsciously walking in with the formula. You're subconsciously walking in the formula without you realizing, and it's like, oh, is not the fact that we out there so going and perpetuate all this and walking with the formula, is that we're putting in the work. We're putting in the work for a while to invest into the future. To invest into the future to know that okay, yeah. When I go in there, you're experiencing the future and you're out there so kicking it back. But at the same time, the fun thing about the university that when you actually go in and experience the future, when you come out in the real world, you're gonna experience the present. You're gonna see the real story. Now. You're gonna actually come in and see the real story, and then you're gonna be like, oh my god, all those luxuries that I out there having university days are gone, and all those. I live in this primitive world now. Out there so with gas stove, I'll be out there so be cooking and all these stuff, working and all these stuff. I have to apply for learners to actually get a driver's license and all these stuff. Yeah, some people actually do those stuff from way back when they are there just doing renewal license and all this. But you start from bottom. I have to do these stuff and all these stuff. And it go for the podcast is that most of these stuff we can actually start from early. You can actually start from early. You can actually start getting the license and all these stuff from here tender age of 16 and all these stuff and all these stuff. So you can actually go in balling on those days. So what happens is that you actually go in and um, you're going with the farm, you're going into the university and coming out and seeing the future. Because you're going in with the formula and stuff like that. When you go in and make your impact, you leave you come out and you see the reality of the real world again. And you come out, but at the same time you leave your impact and the next generation that actually going is seeing the future again. They're living in the future again. And that's the reason why every time you go back, you're gonna always say something like, "Bro, you had it easy, bro. You always have it easy, bro." Because they had to put in the work to actually get the invest in the future. No, you're always in the rework or the apply it and stuff like that. But every time I go back, it's like, yeah, you had it easy, bro. You know, you had it easy. You can always see that you had it easy and all those stuff. But at the same time, um, so all that relates to this episode we're talking about. So boom, in your fourth year, one of the things you're gonna talk about is el- the move to going to an electric stove or stuff like that. Using the matches and then having to actually remember to store in a dry place and stuff like that and not storing it in a dry place. Those stuff are and you spending re-spending money to out there to go and try to rebuy matches and stuff all the time. That's only out there so creating a hazard risk about blowing up the home and all these stuff. And if you're actually working like me, sleeping and sometimes forgetting to and all this stuff, and coming home tired and all this stuff. You have to be aware of storing the matches in a right location to make sure that you're there so not destroying um efficient get the full use of a matches get the full use of a matches. But at the same time, you need this experience gonna teach you to know, to be like, okay, yeah, when you actually save up the money and say you're gonna upgrade now to say a electric stove or stuff like that. And the same thing with every upgrade you make in your home. You're gonna go through those sad days and you're gonna be like when you actually make the purchase and stuff like that and you upgrade the home, you're going to not it's going to be become such a luxury that you don't remember how bad it was because the solution is so perfect to the thing. So perfect to the thing. So when I actually go and get the electric stove and stuff like that, the convenience now that you have to the family, add to the family is so immense and stuff like that. That a whole generation of arguments will just be stopped and it's just a new we're gonna feel like rich people talk rich people even though we're out there so not we're richer than before but we don't this is so that's the thing where we be like okay yeah where we out there so speaking about electric stove and stuff like that don't remember the fact that we out there so coming from coal pots and gas stove you know we're out there so coming from coal pots and gas stove you know? And only thing we're gonna be cursing about is electric bill, electric bill, and all these stuff. But not remembering the fact that we had to actually go pay people to come and pay people to carry gas or lift up the gas itself or stuff like that. We're throwing away all those hassles and backbreaking stuff just to say okay, now we have to go pay like couple K more for electricity now. And then apply better cooking habits to make efficient use of the stove when we're using it and stuff like that and all these stuff. And then go to and all these stuff. But you know, why the thing is that the university days give you a time to look into the see what the future is like. You're there so being and applying yourself and seeing the future just to know that when you actually come in real life now, you you have to work for those privileges. But when you actually get those privileges now, and in real life, now in adult life, now actually get back those privileges in the adult life. Now, you're out there to say, yeah, you can go back to the university days and be like, yeah, we had it. You have it easy. No, and all those stuff. Your future tends the future generation. The future tends I don't even know if that's the right word. But it's like there's a future tense in the people the new generation will say, yeah, you have it easy now and all those stuff. And then they're gonna be me back in 2015 saying, yeah. The old guy coming in telling us that yeah, we had it easy and all this stuff. The same old stuff. Because you made it to university, you are the top rank in the school, in the country. Yo, they say in the top rank in the country. So it's like, yo, this. When me coming now telling you that, okay, yeah, you have it easy and all this stuff, you're gonna be just like me out there saying, yeah, 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 yeah. We know the drill. We know the drill. We know the drill and all this stuff. But it's good. Now I'm at the level where it'd be like it's important for me to say that, to know that when you actually comes come out. And what happens is that because I actually start applying those lessons now, when you come out, you're gonna see some of the luxuries that you had in university out in real life. You're gonna be like, oh my god, you have been paving the way for a while. you know, there's a bit we people have been paving the ways for a while. What happens is that the people at the top have always been are still at the top. We still have to actually come in and put in the work the same way, but they'll be putting the work. Or what will happen is that they struggled to reach the top will always this you will still be a struggle, or, or you still have to put in the work, because as I said, naturally things compound, so you put in the work and all those stuff, the the you naturally get what you working for. So when the person come out the when the person come out of the university, what the first come out of the university, what will happen is that they will see all the work coming in that someone from their year would actually be putting in, to see the results real quick, real time and all those stuff. See all the backlash and all these stuff. And what will happen is that they come in and just see me there and just meet us there instant. Instantly. They instantly see the results and all those stuff. But this episode now, it's just like one of those. So for me, they would actually come in and see me live in the future. But at the same time, sometimes they don't even. This episode is to understand that, yo, there's a time of shortage where it be like, yo, there's when a certain upgrade is made, there's a reason why that upgrade was made. So this episode just be like, yo, this was what was happening to me back then. To say, yeah, if I if I if I am able to reach the opportunity to actually upgrade to that level, and you come in, see me living that life, you see me living that life. There's a reason why um I'm living that life today. You'll be like, oh, we did a barn in riches and stuff like that. Yeah, you're gonna be like, yeah, yeah, we did a barn in riches per se. We had to budget and make this stuff a reality. But when there's a reason why something the average Jamaican or something like will say, okay, it's a balling, and that's the reason why I go to America. When I go to America, they go and all these stuff. But as someone coming from the bottom or something like, it's important to know why when you actually made those upgrade. What will happen is that because things are compounding so much, the upgrade is going to be so quick. The upgrade is going to be so quick that you're going to be say, yeah, yeah. You're going to, all this explanation that I'm giving you now, you don't even realize that those were the issue that I have, because the solution is just so perfect. Like for example, boom, the episode about the if you see the episode about the chicken and all those stuff and the mesh that I talk about, you're gonna hear me say out there. So I apply this stuff. I actually bought it and applied it to my home, and the chicken problem has been solved really quick. And then boom, you're gonna hear me come out and find a way to even get rid of the chicken out of the house, out of the whole yard, and all those stuff. But at the same time, you have to actually remember that those were the days before. Those were the days before where we had the chicken coming into the home and all this again, the feces and all those stuff. So when you actually see me with a dog now, you see me with a dog walking a dog and cleaning up dog feces and all those stuff, you're gonna realize that, yo, all those levels I had to go through just for you to see me living this life. No. You're gonna see me go through all those levels to see me living that life. No. And what will happen is that because I'm out there so living this life, no, you feel like okay, you're born in riches and all these stuff. You're also living the ball in life. No, no. What happens is that the person, what will happen is that the future generation now start out with without all the struggles I had to go through. Right? They start out without all the struggles I had to go through to get those wins. They come in and see the results and be like, yeah, we ain't yeah. They were talking about every time you hear me talking about those days, even the podcast, the future generation are gonna hear me and be like, oh my god, bro, he's so primitive, bro. He's so primitive, bro. I know it was tough. So that's the future that we all just are working towards. We'll be like, yo, every day they come in and be like, yeah, I'm so primitive. You know, they're so primitive. But we have to actually know that, yeah, these were the days that we were this are living so that when you actually go out this and invest in the future, you know why you out this invest in the future. And at the same time, what happening is that somebody to this day is actually living that future, living this future that we also talking about, are living a better future. But what happens is that you out there so happens that you out there have to actually go. We actually had to go out and work for it. And when we actually go out and work for it now and get and reach that future now, the better you the better you make someone else able to reach a part of your future, the better you can actually go out and make a better future for yourself and all those stuff. So it's like all those things are so this basically this episode that is a way to say, yo, these are upgrades that I'm thinking about. But when I actually make the upgrades, they might actually not happen instantly. Some might happen, some might not happen as well. But when they actually happen, no, you actually know why they do it. They'll be like, oh yeah, that's the reason why we out there. So why out there so see we living this life? No, it's not because it's these humble experience no like you out there so see we living that life no are is those are what happens that is those experiences that we experience in the university days that when you actually see us living those life in our adult years, why being a university graduate is worth it, not just sticking at a high school level and all those stuff. They're like, these are years you're out there so trying to validate why you're out there to spend so much money to do those stuff and all these stuff. And the thing about it is that it's a continuing process. It doesn't it's a continuing process in the sense that you reach a point and then it plateaus. Like with everything, it plateaus. Where be like, okay, you reach a point and be like, yeah, it plateaus again, and then now you have to be like, okay, now we have to come back and actually go back and and do the stuff that we were just talking about, and then go back and actually when we come back now, yeah, just to see the results again and be like, yeah. This is now to actually remind you that yeah, we actually wasn't spending those years just talking and all those stuff. And at the same time, the thing about compounding is that I'm spending all these years talking and all these stuff. What happens is that my because I'm actually out there so achieving some results, my words is actually turning into actions better. So you hear me, like for example, you hear me last year talking about 37 days. How much days, bro? Nothing did change about the backyard, Same backyard, talking about how much days I'm out here so struggling to clean the backyard. Next thing you know, you hear me coming and say, yo, bro, I out here so go out and actually took like 15 days to clean this backyard. It took me 50 days. Yeah, but you never know. You never know. You never know. kind of. But what happens is that the backyard didn't change. It's just that it took me that 37 days of going through it and stuff like that. I've come back and applying certain stuff to make the next year that I'm actually cleaning it more manageable. The backyard didn't change, bro. It just that it became more manageable. And and I did most of the dirty work in that 37 days. I did most of the dirty work in that 37 days. So this year I'm actually just doing some more cleanup work. So it may take me the same time, but it's just that it will take me less time to actually. The reason why it will take me less time because I'm doing less of the cleaning again. I'm not doing most of the dirty work cleaning now. It's like a different kind of cleaning again. So it's like so that's the thing about the episode. So I guess that's the thing about this episode will be like, okay, we were working trying to maintain the home now. We're out this in the fourth year now trying to maintain the home. And this is one of the kitchen issues. So that's basically like sometimes you out there, so you go to work, you have to actually have a reason why you're out there so working. So I actually have to clean up the backyard now so I can actually do my backyard farming. And I know the farming is actually coming up very well now. One of the things I should speak about in the update is the fact that now the crops are coming up now. It's just for me to actually reap them now and actually use them better. So what happens is that I would actually have the crops now. And the thing I was talking about last year, separating personal and business and stuff like that. Because sometimes you actually need some of the crop to actually last you to last you a year. And this is part of in this year, because I've been putting in the work, I'm reaping blessings in different ways. I'm reaping blessings in different ways to make certain moves that didn't make sense last year, but it just naturally out there, so making the move. No. And it's like, so what happens is that you may see me doing certain things. I'm out there, so I was putting the work certain places. Then all of a sudden, because I'm putting the work in certain places, I'm out there so able to make a move different places. If you get what I mean, where I will out there so be spending a whole year going and buy. I will spend a whole year say, okay, I'm gonna go to the market. I'll be going to the market and buying groceries, or buying items and stuff like that. I'm going to the market every day and buying fruits or stuff like that. Then you don't see me going out there so buying you don't see me out there so going and buying those stuff on the market again. You see me going to the grocery shop. You see me going to a grocery shop or a grocery store going on and buying the same things. I didn't change. Or sometimes you see me growing those some of those stuff. Some of those stuff you don't see me even going to the shop and buying again, or going to the store and buying again. You see me out there so growing those stuff. Or buy them at different locations. What happens is that the knowledge is compounded. So what will happen is that I will go and you see me out here, so going out and planting the going out and go and buying say a certain fruit to get a juice, to get a juice. And all this stuff. Going only natural, going only natural. Say, oh, I'm gonna buy these stuff only natural and all these stuff and all these stuff. But at the same time, they see me to go out and say, okay, I'm gonna go to the shop and I'll buy things in the bottle and all these stuff. Then and the reason why I'm saying this episode because it's gonna relate to a different episode I'm gonna record. And the reason why I'm saying why these stuff are happening is because all those small failures, all those small failures are compounding me to making a better move. So sometimes I made the plan, and the plan is so clear in the bottom when I'm at the bottom. The plan is so clear, like, yeah, this is the reason why I'm doing this. This is the reason why I'm doing it. Then something happened. Like, for example, like a big sadness and all these stuff in the family that basically what happens is that I'm out this reaching the point to achieve the goal, but the reality something is out there. So when I'm only so close to actually achieving the goal, I'm clouded as to why I get lost in the stars. That's the reason why I be like, okay, they give you a paycheck to forget your dreams and stuff like that. Those are the reality where be like, yo, you're out there, so was you had the plan clear in the bottom. You had the plan clear in the bottom, but once you actually start close to reaching it, you forgot the goal. You, you forgot why you're out there, so we're working for those luxuries. Because for one, you are getting it and you're getting it fast. So sometimes you actually be like, okay, we have to stop and be like, okay, we are reminding ourselves that yeah, this is the reason why um this is the level that we are at now, and we're going to make a different upgrade and this time. And we make this upgrade this time now. It's good to celebrate that we actually came from this way, but we actually make this upgrade this time. It's a reason why we up there to make this upgrade. And what happens is that this episode is basically for someone who will see me living the results. And out there to keep asking me why the hell I'm living this results. Why the hell I'm out there to living the results and stuff like that. And don't have the time to actually go out and listen to me tell you in real life about this going out and actually listening. I'm like, okay, yeah. No, I understand. I no, I actually understand why you're this living this that real life because what happens is that the solution. I'm telling you the solution to this level. No, I'm telling you the solution to this level. No, but what will happen is that if you're like me, the solution you're gonna be you're going to be you have to actively apply these solutions. So, you either go and say, okay, I'm gonna actively apply this solution, or I'm going to just go out and not do it and find a better way and stuff like that. So that's the thing about this. So that's the basic thing for this episode I talk about here. The the matches experience and stuff like that. So I said these episodes so far give you an experience on how to kind of apply it, sorting out the kitchen and all those. All the kitchen stuff. So what happens that all this stuff I did in the university, but you just have to apply it now in real life. And we'll be like, okay, it's so obvious. Yeah, it's so obvious that what happens that you in the university or stuff like that, or stuff like that, you would actually go out and get money and all those stuff. Or you live in a future because you out there, so put in the work. And that's the thing about university. Because you put in the work and go to the university, you get these privileges. You get these privileges in real in those days. And you out there, so live in those futures. But what happens is that in the adult world it's not as easy to out there so put those um future um futuristic ways into the real world. That's the reason why when I go to university and stuff like that, you don't worry about light and all those stuff and all those stuff. You don't worry about light and all those stuff. When light go away there is an anomaly. It's not impossible for the light to go away there. But you don't worry about it. In the university days, bro. There's a living if you're there's a put in the work, getting a scholarship and stuff like that. Are you if it's a person paying for your way through there, there's a worrying about those stuff. Because that's the part you're coming from. That's the part you're coming from. But if you were actually coming from a different partner with you're not all this those luxuries that the university offers, you're out there so living there those luxuries, investing in the future. So that's the reason why, for example, someone coming from the country, it's so futuristic for them for them to go to the university and stuff like that. We'll be like, yeah, why when you're coming from the country out there, so the city people will look like you and be like, oh my god, bro. Because they don't realize that, bro. You're out there so coming from, you're living in the future, bro. You're living in the future, bro. But what happens is that, bro, when they come back, what happens is that we actually go to the university and then come back to the country now. You come back to the country now. I want to apply these things into the country now, into the country life and all those. It's not easy. It's not easy because what happens is that there's a reason why the country life is still there. You just don't know why yet. You have to actually know why the country life is still there so that when actually make this upgrade and a new person comes in, you can tell them why this upgrade is relevant. You have to know how bad was that country life was to say, yo, when we make this upgrade, this is the reason why this this is the investment we're making to the country life. No, be like, yeah, the country days are nice, bro. The rivers and all these stuff is nice, but there was something there in this in going to those 3 years at university. I'd be like, yeah, bro, just applying this into this place would be like, yo, where it'd be like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's the thing where it'd be like, yo, sometimes you have to these are simple things that will happen that you experience that when you make the upgrade in your home, you you it doesn't mean that. And why is that? When you actually learn these lessons and you say like, okay, you go to a different home and be like, oh yeah, yeah. You see the gas stove and stuff like that. I go to certain places and see a gas stove and stuff like that. You're not foreign. You're not out there so being like, oh my god, what is this, bro? What is this? I haven't seen this in like 27 years, bro. I haven't seen a gas stove in 27 years. No, they actually come in and be like, yeah. You actually remember those days, but what happens is that you actually go and use the stove to remember, like, yeah. No, using the stove, no. No, I know why I use a rice cooker or a electric stove. So it's like, okay, yeah, it make it good for you to actually use the gas stove. And no, it's not good for you to use. But these experiences, going through those cold parties and all those stuff, will actually make you appreciate more when I fully understand how to use when you get this, when you get those products. So like, when you get the rice cooker, or when you get the electric stove, or for example, when you get the AC in your home and all those stuff, you have to remember the days when you have the fun and all these stuff. To remember that, okay, yeah, these were the days we were living with those luxuries. These were the days that we was living with those luxuries. Now. To say, yeah, we are just living these luxuries now. I'm out there so glad for the fact that we are just living these luxuries now. We are so glad for the fact that we are just living these luxuries now, and we can complain. So that's the thing where be like, sometimes you're out there, so you left the bottom for years. For years now. People at the bottom be like, oh my god, bro, why this person ain't coming back to the bottom, bro? There's a reason why, bro. There's a reason why we ain't coming back. You ain't see us in the bottom for years, bro. There's a reason why you ain't see us at the bottom for years, bro. Because there's something at the top that is better. And what happens that it doesn't it make when you actually see the top, and then you come back to the bottom, you'll be like, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. No, that's the reason why. Yeah, now you validate why you actually not there. You're actually not there for why it's primitive stuff, certain stuff. I think even at the bottom there are a lot of stuff. That's why I think the Bible say or something like love not the world or stuff like that, cause stuff pride of life and all these stuff. The world is giving you the some stuff now, bro. Some stuff until now. But there is something that Jesus is telling you that yo, something is better than that. But you have to see with a third eye. have to actually see it with a third eye to say, yo, there is something better. There's a more fancier life. We can't afford it yet or stuff like that. But um there's a better life. There are people out there are living a better life. There's a better life out there, and sometimes it's hard to actually put a sometimes you're not able to give them to say, okay, I'm going to give you money to go to a better life or stuff like that. But by you putting in the work and reaching somewhere, you can actually just push them to see the better life. To say, yeah, yeah, we actually want to work to that life or stuff like that. But these are the episodes where you'll be like, yo, the matches thing, those are foundational stuff that you're gonna experience in using a gas stove. Where you'll be like, okay, if you actually able to go to a to say, yeah, when actually using the gas stove, make sure that you actually put the safety matches in a dry location to make sure that you're saving money. You're not wasting money out there so rebuying matches every second because you're just put in a wet location. These are stuff that you actually realize. But at the same time, knowing that when you actually go out and upgrade to the electric stove or something like that in a certain state, it's gonna cost you more money to actually maintain that. But I talking about careers a luxury and all these stuff. You're going to realize that after a while when you can actually afford it, you're gonna be like you're gonna listen all these stuff. All this but at the same time, you're going to be worth upgrade fully going upgrade to that is going to be actually way better for you. It's just that at this time the gas stove is what you can afford. So stick to what you can afford, but knowing that the future is there. The future is there. So that's the thing where I'm like, yeah. Mhm. So that's basically for this episode. Thank you for listening. I look forward for the next episode.
Well, this is the end of the episode. Thanks for watching and look forward for the next episode. To support this podcast, go to anchor.fm/cssb/support or become a sponsor for this episode. If you have a product that you want to have more exposure, DM me on the Instagram page, Reframing Mindset Podcast, or on Twitter at ReframingP. Either way would help. Thank you regardless for listening, and here's a preview for the next episode.